Friends, today we have the pleasure of introducing Nalini Mohanty, who has been a veteran journalist, created quite a bit of sensation when he was in Patna as the resident editor of Hindustan Times, also in Times of India, and he has been heading the Jagaran Institute of Management. And today we'll be talking to him about the elections in India. We are almost 4 pages are over, so the entire country is excited about what is happening in the process of elections and what would be the outcome on 4th of June. Welcome, Mr. Mohanty, to our studio ADS forum. We are really pleased to have you. You have been a student leader, then a journalist, and now teaching management. So it would be good for our viewers to know your perspectives and insights into what is happening. I was in a university recently, and the vice chancellor, who is a lawyer by training, during a tea, he said something which really struck me, and I thought I should begin with that. He said, I have been witnessing elections since my young days, and I've never seen or never felt that elections could sink so low in terms of public discourse and the decorum and dignity in the political discourse that we have. And he was really expressing his anguish over the standards falling down. Do you think his sentiments are correct? And you have watched several elections. How is it different in terms of its character from the other elections that we have witnessed, particularly from 77?
We've been looking at elections for more than 3 decades very closely. And what we see that in every elections there are people who try to bring down the discourse to the level of the gutter. That was confined to a certain level of political activists, not at the higher level. I would agree with the Vice Chancellor that you were talking about, that this is one election where the highest functionary of the land, the Prime Minister of India, is indulging in such words and such polemics which would polarize the country. That was never happening before. No Prime Minister in the country, certainly no Congress Prime Minister did this, certainly not Mr. Atal Bihari Vajpayee did it. He was a Prime Minister of BJP, but he did not do it. In fact, same Narendra Modi in 2014 came on a plank of development. But unfortunately, today he faces so much of anti-incumbency that he feels that the development plan that he sold 10 years ago and which brought him rich dividend will no more work. So he will have to bring it down to Hindu-Muslim level to polarize so that the Hindu community vote can be consolidated by showing the opposition as a party which only does appeasement of Muslims. So it's a question of polarization along the religious lines, because they understand that polarization on caste lines has always been there, and every party has their polarization along caste lines, and within the opposition there are parties which exclusively cater to the demand of the OBC, some with the EBC, and there are parties like Congress which are rather umbrella parties which try to take the votes of everyone else. But increasingly the BJP has found that they would be able to succeed in the electoral process if they bypass the caste division and polarize the country along the religion, so that 80% vote comes as a handy for them to get to the fast past the post system.
You talked about the symbols of elections, and you hinted at the substance also in the election. There are two broad major coalitions, NDA and India or Indi. I thought that the religious approach was missing in this election. 2014, perhaps that was the story. But this time, I thought BJP was fighting on nationalism, cultural revivalism, and growth and development, India being a world power, Vishwaguru, etc. And Congress, of course, talking about inclusive politics, catering to the poor, and a kind of common man's approach. In your view, what do you think that defines the platforms of both the alliances, and what are the major issues they are putting forth in this election? But as you say, whether it is polarization, I do not think it was polarization this time, and they maybe in the midstream. We'll talk about that. They brought in the issue of POK. But so far, are there no ideological framework they're fighting with, or it is just a symbolism and emotionalism?
You see, the NDA has been in power for last 10 years. They had given a development agenda in 2014 and to some extent in 2019. So they have delivered on certain fronts, no doubt about it. And 10 years, but after 10 years, they have nothing new to provide. Whatever they have given, and that's what they cannot justify that we will be able to give these new benefits to the people. If that was the case, why didn't you give it to the people before? That would be the question. So that's why you look at Modi Ki Guarantee, the platform on which they release their election manifesto, is nothing but reiteration of the positions which they have taken over the last 10 years. There's nothing new in it, because they felt, quite rightly perhaps, that Ram Janmabhoomi, Ram Temple in January has created the religious space. That's something which will cater to the need of the large section of the Hindu population. That's why in fact, there was a speculation that immediately after the Ram Mandir inauguration on 22nd January, Prime Minister and the BJP government may recommend dissolution of parliament the same way that Vajpayee had done it. But possibly they felt that Vajpayee had done it and unfortunately paid for it, because 6 months before they lost the election. But because Ram Mandir did not resonate so much, it did in January, it did it in February, but when it came to April, it did not resonate so much. That's what their own internal survey said this, their own intelligence report said this, and that is the reason why they started Hindu-Muslim polarization. Because they felt if that does not happen, then anti-incumbency will overtake them. They can beat anti-incumbency only with the communal polarization. On the other hand, the India group, obviously they're out of power for 10 years and they had everything to offer. And in fact, but unfortunately, India group has not, as a group, given any kind of a presentation before the people that this will be our common minimum program. Every party has given their own agenda, own manifesto. So that's a kind of a kitchery business there for the India platform. But nevertheless, the biggest party of the India platform, the Congress, presented a manifesto where they have given some assurances which touch the heart of the people. And large number of people have been drawn towards them, especially when they say that we will disband the Agniveer scheme. Large number of youth who have been dreaming of serving in the army or defense forces have certainly put up. And yes, that's what they would all certainly back the Congress. Similarly, the women, giving them 1 lakh rupee a year, 8,500 rupee a month to the women head of the family, that also resonates very strongly. And at a time, and especially the government's the Congress announcement about filling in all vacancies within the first year. That itself also, because at the moment unemployment is the biggest issue, and that is what is resonating so much. That obviously BJP got the feedback they will be in the back foot. They cannot give that assurance that we will create jobs, because they had created that assurance that we will create 2 crore jobs a year. In 10 years, they could have created 20 crore jobs, and they have not done. And they cannot peddle the same lie again. And that's the reason why they did not have anyway. They peddled some lies about the Congress manifesto. And this peddling was done by Prime Minister himself, who said that Congress Key manifesto is saying that if they come to power, they will take away your gold, they will take away your house, they will take away your bullets, they will take away your cars, they will take away everything, your land, everything, and half of it will go away. I mean, the absolute lies that they would give 15% to Muslims. And that is what the lie that came from the Prime Minister himself, because he was in a very, very desperate situation. Because he could not counter Congress's offer of freebies with his counter offer. Because whatever he had to give, he had given it for 10 years. He couldn't come forward with anything new, anything else. Only thing he already had announced is that he would continue the free ration for another 5 years, which is a huge draw, which gives Congress, BJP enormous amount of support. In fact, Prime Minister Modi made Congress manifesto popular, made Congress manifesto, he in fact drew Congress manifesto into the main stage and the mainstream for discussions. And that's where lies the issue, that because Congress manifesto is getting some traction, he and his party had to return to communal propaganda in order to get back their mojo in the political process.
But I also noticed for the first time in this election a new trend, what is called the politics of guarantee. In the marketing language, if you get a guarantee for a product or service, and if it is not functional, then you return it. So, which implies that if they don't deliver on their guarantee, people can demand that they return the mandate and quit. So, I thought that was good. And then Mr. Kejriwal, when he came out of jail, he gave 10 guarantees of called Kejriwal Ki Guarantee. So I thought the cynics in Indian politics should be encouraged that now we are getting better and stronger commitment from our leaders. So in terms of guarantees, so do you think it is maintainable in legal language, or it is just an election gimmick or a populist strategy?
It's a election manifesto is that of a party. When Narendra Modi, the BJP's election manifesto came as Modi Ki Guarantee, I said, in fact, in a YouTube presentation, that this is a manifesto of a megalomaniac. And exactly the same characterization can be done about Kejriwal's guarantees. Guarantees should be presented by a political party. This men, whether it is Modi or Kejriwal, are in fact reducing elections to one dictatorial voice which represents the party. No. It is the party which stands. Tomorrow, if something happens to Narendra Modi, then the BJP will disdain it. No, it was Modi ki guarantee. We are not bothered about it. We are not responsible for it. The party's guarantee, irrespective of whether Modi is there or not there, for whatever reasons, then party will fulfill the promise, the pledge that it has made to the electorate. And similarly, Aam Aadmi Party should have done it. I think Congress did it well by saying that this is a party manifesto. And BJP used to do it before. Never before it was an individual's guarantee. Individual's guarantee is, that's what we, in a democracy, we are bringing in such megalomaniacs who think they are above the party. And that is what destroys the entire edifice of democracy.
That's correct. Individualism inevitably leads to autocracy. Okay, let's look at the electoral demographics in our country, which is very interesting. They had the government in Karnataka, they lost last year, but they have made quite big efforts in Tamil Nadu, Kerala, which were a no-go area for BJP. And I hear from grapevine that they would get 5 seats in Tamil Nadu, which is a big victory, and two in Kerala and others. So, what is your take whether BJP would register their presence in South India other than Karnataka, or it is a bubble stream?
No, in Karnataka, of course, they will get a good number of seats. They have won, they swept Karnataka last time. And they should get, and yes, the reports say that they have put up very stiff fight in Tamil Nadu. But unfortunately, in Tamil Nadu, they could not strike a coalition with the AIADMK. If they would have done, then the NDA would have done very well. But because they could not do that, because AIADMK spurned the offer of an alliance by the BJP. In fact, they broke off because they felt the BJP will be more a liability than an asset in the electoral politics, especially when Sanatan Dharma debate had come up. And that debate was deliberately done by, raised by Stalin's son, so that he could split AIADMK from the BJP itself, and he succeeded in doing that. And that's the reason why the Tamil Nadu, I am not so sure that they will be able to make 5 seats, but this certainly they might get 2-3 seats in Tamil Nadu, they might get even 1 or 2 seats in Kerala, and Karnataka, of course, they will get more number of seats. And Telangana, they are a strong force, no doubt about it. In fact, this time, the earlier election in 2019, it was a BJP versus BRS. But this time, it will be a Congress versus BJP, and BRS, in fact, has been reduced to a minor player. And in Andhra Pradesh, NDA will get good number of seats because it has been able to strike up the balance with a coalition with the TDP. And TDP is a potentially very strong force, is an alternative force. In fact, there is a speculation that the TDP might even win the assembly election that is happening concurrently with the Lok Sabha election. So, there TDP, Pawan Kalyan and BJP's alliance will give rich dividend. So I'm sure this time South India would certainly compensate BJP and the NDA very well.
Like South, the similar is the situation in East or Northeast, except one state, which is Assam. BJP is not present or not dominant in other states. Orissa has become favorable for them, the state we both come from, because they didn't have the alliance with BJP. So the fight is between BJP and BJP now, and Congress is almost marginalized. So, what is your thinking whether in the northeastern part, again BJP will reap rich dividends, or they would retain Assam and they would be wobbly in other states?
You see, Orissa, last time they got 8 seats out of 21, and uh, and there is a general view. I was in Orissa some time ago, 2 weeks ago, and there is a view that Pandyan factor had somehow struck a chord with some section of the electorate. Odia Ashmita, self-prestige, self-dignity of Odias, that a Tamilian officer is controlling the state of affairs of Orissa, politically, bureaucratically, and everywise, financially. That is what BJP has succeeded in sending out that message to Orissa. And that's why there is a certain considered view that in the Lok Sabha election, BJP will improve its numbers. From 8, it will go up somewhat. And but in the assembly, possibly Naveen Patnaik will be able to hold forth, not the kind of brute majority that he got in 2019, but he will be able to cobble up a majority of its own to form a government in the assembly. But in the Lok Sabha, there will be BJP would gain. And the West Bengal is an open game. They had done extremely well last time, 18 seats in West Bengal. And I was speaking to some journalists in Delhi who come from Bengal, and they speculate, they think the BJP's campaign has gone down very well, and BJP could improve its tally to even 25. That's a kind of a number that they are saying. So, in both the key states of eastern India, Odisha and West Bengal, it is quite likely that BJP will improve its number.
I was referring to Kashmir. They have done quite well in Kashmir by splitting the state, making it union territory, and restoring some normalcy and law and order. Out of 3 parliamentary seats, BJP has none. And Amit Shah was in Kashmir yesterday, and he admitted that it was perhaps a lapse. So, what do you think? Why did they do that? Did they have candidates?
No, I think in Kashmir they obviously felt that any candidate they put up will lose its security deposit, and that would be a slap on their face. That they tum the idea to the world that by bringing Kashmir under the fold of the central government, they have changed the scenario. They have won the support of Kashmiris. That myth will be broken, busted, if they find their candidate losing their security. The BJP cannot make this kind of a lapse. It is a considered decision on the part of BJP not to bust that myth that we have taken control, and especially because every Kashmiri is very opposed to the idea that they are part of a union territory and not a state. I am sure if BJP government, Modi government would have restored the state status to the state, they would have won back certain amount of support within Kashmir Valley itself, and that would have facilitated for their placing the candidature. But they were not ready to do it. The Supreme Court of India did not force their hand. How they only made a promise before the Supreme Court, will do it soon. But do it when? There was no deadline given.
At the same time, they have made a big claim midstream in the elections to take POK back if they can do it. One wonders how they're going to do it, because China and Pakistan are both involved in POK now. Getting POK back into Indian territory would be a tremendous thing for Indians. What do you think? Will it have any traction with people, or it is just
Well, Pakistan, the whole parallel that is being run, that Indira Gandhi could split Pakistan east and west, and was able to create a separate state country of Bangladesh. So if Indira Gandhi could do it, why can't Narendra Modi do this? But you should know there is a POK and Bangladesh, East Pakistan, two different ball games together. Pakistan and US Pakistan, East Pakistan were separated by a huge geographical divide. This POK is part of the Pakistan that exists today. And it is, and especially in the context of Pakistan being extremely closely associated with China. In a case of Pakistan, in a case of Bangladesh, we had complete support of the Soviet Union. And that's why we were able to offset the threat being posed by the United States of America, which was allied that time with Pakistan. But now, in the given situation where we do not have a Soviet Union, Putin's Russia does not have that kind of security support that so erstwhile Soviet Union could do to India. And America will certainly not give us up. America will be the first country who should say never get into that misadventure. And China will openly, given the hostility with India, will openly support it. It's geographically, geopolitically, it is impossible for a government of India. It is just a political gimmick during the elections. You will find soon after the elections, POK will disappear from the vocabulary of Narendra Modi, Amit Shah, and BJP altogether.
Okay, that's another debate. Finally, what is going to happen on 4th of June? 400, 380, 330, or 275? What is your fair guess?
I somehow don't believe in second guessing. That's because, you know, during the last assembly elections, I used to get so much of reports from people who have been traveling in Madhya Pradesh, traveling in Rajasthan, in Chhattisgarh, that at least two states the Congress was winning and BJP was losing. But when the results came, it was just a tight slap. When the state where when everyone had said there is no question, 100% that Congress should win Madhya Pradesh. Nobody had even 5% doubt on that. That's a state where the BJP scored the most successful victory in its history. So that's and after 20 years of incumbency. So that's a situation. Keeping that in view, although a lot of, I feel yes, BJP will certainly come down in Uttar Pradesh. BJP will certainly come down, the BJP's number will come down in Bihar. Certainly BJP's number will come down in Karnataka. So BJP's number even can come down marginally in Gujarat. BJP and so-called NDA's number in what they had got in 2019 will substantially come down in Maharashtra. So these are the kind, even the BJP's number will come down in Rajasthan. So these are the states, especially in northern Indian states, BJP will be the number one player. So, but BJP's number will come down in a sizable manner. And that's the reason to some extent, that will be offset by its gains in the south. But I, for one, believe BJP number will certainly be less than 300. It may be around 270. It will be in a position. It will be the single largest party, and possibly I think it will be able to form a government on its own or in collaboration with the NDA, because the NDA is only except for Andhra, where TDP is a major player. Everywhere else, these are small players, and where they would not have much of a support there. So it will be BJP on its own. But BJP will not be able to rule anymore with that kind of brute majority that they did in 2019.
Right. Thank you, Mr. Mohanty, for talking to you. Thank you so much.